You know, you've been right on every issue. You're for America, you're for the truth, you're for justice, but you know the insides of the Pentagon. What was that comment? I think it was the former Defense Secretary Rumsfeld said that you got information in the Pentagon faster than he did, or something along those lines.
He said I was drilling holes in the Pentagon and sucking out the information. I'm not sure whether he meant it as a compliment, but I sure took it that way.
Well, I'm glad that you're doing that because you bring the truth to the American people, and I really appreciate it. And you do it as a patriot. You've never been trying to tear down this great country, tear down our military. You're a friend of the military and a friend of the intelligence agencies.
Yes, you know, this book, Deceiving the Sky, is really the culmination of 20 years of in-depth investigative reporting on China. And I wrote the China threat back in 2000, and it was, again, warning about all the things that are happening now, and they've kind of come true, and I've kind of captured that in this new book.
No, I love the book. In the introduction, you open with a story about being in the Pentagon, in the office of the Defense Intelligence Agency, talking to a three-star general. Now, that's something I've done a few times, it's very familiar. But you were talking about the year 1999, I guess, and you said the general told you flat out, China is not a threat.
It wasn't just a general, it was the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. And what he was saying was that China was not a threat, and of course my response was, why do you think that? And his answer, to paraphrase it, was because the Chinese told us that. And I was totally shocked. But it became very clear to me within a very few years that why he was saying that. A major spy was uncovered inside the Defense Intelligence Agency. His name was Ron Monteperto. He was a Defense Intelligence Agency analyst, and he was eventually convicted of passing classified information to two Chinese military intelligence attachés at the embassy in Washington. So what he was saying was a reflection of these intelligence analysis that had totally jumped into bed with the Chinese. And it was really the heart of the issue that our intelligence community, our policy community, our academic community has all been kind of infiltrated with these pro-China analysts, and or worse, in the case of Monteperto, he was actually a Chinese spy.
Well, he was convicted of Chinese spying, but I dealt with someone who kind of looked to him as a mentor. When I was talking in the DIA, I dealt with Lonnie Henley, and Lonnie Henley, I think, even stood up for Monteperto at a hearing, saying, "Hey, he's really not a bad guy. We should go easy on him."
Yeah, and again, this is a reflection of a 30-plus years of intelligence failures on China. They got China wrong, and it was all based on a false premise. The premise was, if we trade with China, if we engage China, then this will have a moderating influence on the communist dictatorship in Beijing. It will create a non-threatening, benign China. The engagement strategy was an utter failure. Let me give you just one example. Back during the Clinton administration in the 90s, the United States decided that it was going to engage China in, quote, nuclear cooperation and space cooperation. So we sent some of our nuclear laboratory scientists from Los Alamos and other places to China. And guess what happened? Within a few short years, and this was a conclusion of the CIA in the late 90s, China obtained through espionage secrets on every single deployed warhead in the U.S. arsenal. Wow. When it comes to space cooperation, we transferred missile technology to their space launchers, which helped prevent their missiles from blowing up on the launch pad. We also gave them a multiple satellite launcher, which was converted into multiple warhead technology, which is now targeted at U.S. cities. So the engagement strategy was an utter disaster.